I would like to thank you all for making to this call at a very short notice. Let me introduce you to the management on the call. We have Mr. Jaishak, a Global CEO and Promoter, Mr. Hardeep Singh, Independent Director and Chairman of Audit Committee, Mr. Anand Vora, CFO, and Ms. Radhika Arora, Head IR. With this, I will hand over the call to the management. Over to you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you very much. Just to let you know, me and Hardeep are together in the car actually. So if there is any disturbance, I apologize in advance. Just to update everyone, we've had a robust year. COVID has really created awareness of a pretty delicate environment in terms of food supply chain, and most governments are focusing on self-sufficiency on food as much as possible. We have seen some very interesting developments in the world. Commodity prices, which we were uncertain about at the end of March, at the peak of the uncertainty in the crisis, have moved up substantially, and my personal view is that a lot of countries are stocking up on food. The sentiment in the food systems across the world are pretty positive. The price of commodities are very, very strong, and the general view is pretty optimistic going into 2021. Even in countries like India, agriculture has been the mainstay and giving a lot of confidence to the government, etc. Even though we can see this whole farmer crisis, the food production has been good, and the sentiment for even the Rabi planting is pretty good. Overall, there is a lot of excitement about sustainability, about food systems, about just the food security. Even in Africa, we are discussing with many governments around self-sufficiency in rice growing and other crops. The food companies and the world is focusing on sustainable food supplies, and UPL with its whole portfolio of biosolutions and other climate smart technologies are well positioned. We are very well positioned to capitalize on that. While we have been investing in these technologies between UPL and Arista for the more than 7-8 years, and we are commercializing, that business segment for us is growing at double the rate of our regular business. And we believe that while being number one in that category is also helping us to grow. Just to inform, we just inaugurated a laboratory in Bangalore, which is doing all our biosolution research, in addition to research going on in France, Mexico, and in Cali in the US. So we are excited about the prospects for our biosolutions business and our sustainable solutions business. We are also very proud of being recognized by Sustainalytics as the number one company in ESG. I would say emphasize for this call G, which means governance, I assume, and you guys know. So it's a very positive thing, and we believe that growth rate for UPL will continue to go on. In most markets around the world, we have gained market share this year, and in the past few years, we are gaining market share. We're very pleased with the performance in Southeast Asia. That market has grown a lot. Our bets on expanding our production capacities for our herbicide segment on metolachlor, and on glufosinate also have done really well, and we continue to be a market leader in terms of growth in these areas, and really have been able to gain substantial market share in all the growing markets. And so even our whole strategy in Brazil has panned out very well, and we have been able to continuously gain market share in Brazil, which is one of the most important markets for food production worldwide. While Argentina as a government is going through its own problem in currency, the agriculture system there is operating very well and is strong. Cash flows are pretty strong, which we were surprised with, but it's a very positive development. And because the underlying commodities are exported around the world and the prices are good, that also sentiment is pretty good. On Advanta side, we've had second year very successful development of our high-growth technologies, and that is also done really well, and we are quite optimistic about the market share growth in the sorghum segment. Even in India, Advanta has done well, and we are now the number one company in corn in Maharashtra, and we are very proud of that because it's an important market for corn seed. Even on vegetables today, UPL would be probably one or two, number one, number two, I would say, in the vegetable seed market, also growing very nicely, and we have good prospects for continuing to grow as situations like COVID, vegetable and fresh consumption go up quite a lot. So we are quite optimistic about the prospects for UPL currently and in the next couple of years. We've also had some new plants commissioned. Our clithodium plant, which is part of our integration strategy, has just commissioned. This was a product we inherited from our Arista acquisition. So that plant is commissioned. We also commissioned the cyanide plant. Actually, it's in commissioning, but here it's running very well, and we are very happy with that. That's basic feedstock for a lot of our chemicals and for the basic chemical industry. So overall, things are good. Our intermediates and specialty chemicals business in India is also growing sort of mid double digits, 20-30%, and I believe that will also continue to grow. So overall, quite optimistic about the prospects for UPL. We have a very strong foundation, and we believe we'll continue to gain market share going forward worldwide. So with that, I can turn to the current situation. I just want to mention that this issue was brought up about 2017 to the board, to the audit committee chairman, and it was investigated by the board in 2017. And we had the audit committee involve the auditors and reviewed the last 7 years of transactions between any of the family investment companies or any other companies, including the company mentioned here, and found it to be okay. All that report was discussed with the board. The board decided to get a legal opinion and followed the due process, and the matter was closed. The complainant at that point was my estranged wife, and replies were made to the right people, and so that is the update on that. I can hand over to Hardeep to make any comments on this process because he was very involved in the process at that time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Hardeep Singh. At the time of this complaint in 2017, I was, I believe, a member of the audit committee. I was still not the chairman of the audit committee. Mr. Pradeep Madhavji, I think, was the chairman of the audit committee at that time. We went through the complaint with the complete details of the complaint. We investigated it internally, and to verify the internal investigation, we turned to Jyoti Sagar and Associates, one of the leading law firms in the country, to investigate independently and cross-verify the validation and validate what our own audit committee had verified. Both those validations came out clean, and based on that, we we issued a certification to the board and also wrote to the complainant that there was no cause that we found for any issue or any intent or any malafide or any breach of process or systems. Anything? So that's really about this complaint. We are, as usual. So if there's anything that you'd like to ask, please go ahead.
So thanks, Hardeep.
We would also, I would also like to make one important point that this morning when this thing surfaced on the media, the electronic media, we have made calls to and verified with each member of the board, existing and past, recently passed over the last 5-6 years, and confirmed with each person that none of them has made a complaint. So the allegation made in the complaint that this is a whistleblower complaint from a member of the board appears to be malified and with bad intent, because no member of the board, and I can confirm that to you on this call, no member of the board, we verified it verbally from every member individually. No member of the board has made a complaint, or member of the audit committee has made a complaint, as alleged in the article.
Thanks, Hardeep. Thanks, Jay. Now we'll open up the session for question and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Eric Liu from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Thanks, management, for taking my question. I agree that this kind of event seems like an old issue back to 2017. But just want to have a quick catch up. Like, how's the existing this kind of a lease and license agreement? Like, I understand in the past fiscal 2012 to 2019 is incurred around 25.9 crore. But like, can you let me know how's the remaining lease term and
what is
repeat
that? Not come.
Sorry, could you let me know the remaining lease term that UPL Limited entered with Sadafuli, the kind of shell company? Like, how's the remaining lease term and incurred remaining amount?
It is a rental property. It was rented for my stay during my visit to India, and so I was staying there when I was in India, and it was rent paid over the period of time. That's what you're asking. It was a rented property, real estate rented home. Yeah.
Just to add further, the agreement is the agreement was completed. I mean, it expired as of 31st March 2019, and since then it is not renewed with UPL.
Okay, it's 31st March 2019 has been ended, and then after there isn't anything.
That's right.
For the lease. Got it. Maybe just another question. I just want to get a sense to know how's the current shareholding structure for the Sadafuli? Like, is it still owned by like some kind of technomic kind of stuff reported by news?
It's not owned by any of the UPL. It's not a UPL subsidiary, and it's unrelated party as far as UPL is concerned.
So it's no longer owned by any relevant employee. For example, in the news it named like Salim, Gowani, Bipin, Jani, are they still owning this shell company?
The shell companies own their holding company, I assume. I don't know what is a shell company. Everything is a shell company. The holding company is owned by Samir Mehta, who used to lease it to UPL.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Understand. I guess I have no question so far. I will go back to the queue, and if I have any question, I will press star one.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Matthias Wamal from Blue Bay Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much. And by the way, I think it's commendable that you're carrying out this call. I think it's very positive, and it helps us analysts and investors to get information and to have access, and really shows that you're trying to stay in front of this. My questions are the following. The first one is you commented that none of the current board members seem to be involved in this. Could this maybe be a previous or a prior board member? And I think it may have been suggested that it was a prior board member. Secondly, could you give us a sense of the potential amounts that are involved in this allegation? And then thirdly, and I think that was part of the previous question, is do the allegations refer or have any relation to UPL Corp, or are they mostly at the UPL Limited level? I'm just trying to understand since there was a change of auditors at UPL Corp. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To your first question, and this is Hardeep Singh, I'm the chairman of the Audit Committee. To your first question, this is to confirm that we have verified today with all directors including those who have retired over the last 7 years, and confirmed verbally with them that none of them has made this complaint. So we have gone as far back as we possibly could to check with all directors who were past and present, and even past directors we have confirmed verbally with them, and nobody has made such a complaint. Number two, the total amount involved is $3 million, give or take, over a 10-year period.
Perfect. And then I'm sorry, but were the allegations involving UPL Corp or Limited?
No, this is
all about UPL Limited.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amar Gill from BlackRock. Please go ahead.
Hi. Yes, thank you. So my question is just to clarify on what was the arrangement until March 2019. You've mentioned that the holding company was previous, the lessor for the property was Mr. Mehta, if I got the name correctly. Was Mr. Mehta in some way a related party to the promoters of the group, or before March 2019 was this was the lease for a property that was related to the group, or completely an independent owner who was leasing it to Mr. Shroff?
So, Anand, would you like to answer that?
Sure. So, Amar, this prior to 2019, the property was rented to UPL, and UPL used to pay the rent. And whenever Mr. Shroff was in town, he would stay at this property. So that was the arrangement. There is this person who has the company, and the person who has rented the property to UPL is no way related to the Shroff family.
I may also add that it is quite usual in India to rent accommodation for the CEO, as Mr. Shroff has said. Not just the CEO, but also for other senior management.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Divakar Vijayvergiya from Alliance Bernstein. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much for this call. It's like one of the participants mentioned. It's really timely and it helps. I understand, the business is doing well. Year 2021 should be better than 2020. The growth should be better. But, what is, if we, and I'm a credit investor, so I can talk about credit, but even the equity markets don't seem to be rewarding the company. And even at the credit markets, the UPL bonds trade probably at the wider end of spectrum. And, the reason probably is related to the headline noise which comes around the management. If I just go back 6 to 7 months, the tax rates.
Can you speak up a bit? It's not a very clear line. It may be my line. I'd appreciate if you can speak up a bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. So what I was trying to get to is both the equity markets and credit markets are not rewarding the company for the performance which they have been delivering in the last couple of years, even more, right? And probably the reason is because of the headline noise which keeps hitting the company. I mean, it is unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? But, I just wanted to understand, tax rates, I understand. But auditor resignation, even though you guys have come out and said that it's a commercial decision and stuff like that, but the auditor not responding to the stock exchange or not responding to the reason is something which I still want to understand. And now this, I completely understand that this is like an old case and someone is just digging this up to just not with the best of intentions. But I just want to understand what's going on with the auditor. Just to get more sense in terms of, yes, it was a commercial decision, but why is the auditor not coming out and making the statements which it is supposed to make to the exchanges?
Jay, you want me to take it or you're going to answer it?
Can I be very honest? We asked the auditor, KPMG India and asked the auditor to resign because they were not able to complete their work. What do you expect them to say? Nobody is going to admit that they are not competent, but they just couldn't finish their work on time. And every quarter we were going into a board meeting whether we would be able to get our papers, our balance sheet done on time because they just did not have resources. So nobody is going to admit to their own incompetence. We just ask them that please now enough is enough. If you do not add enough resources and put more people on the job, we cannot work with you. I have the right. We have the right to fire somebody if he's incompetent. And so that's what we did. We just politely said that they resigned. There was a mistake. We should have said they were fired. That would have been better, just to put it bluntly. I'm not expected to put up with incompetent people around us,
No, and I understand that part, but there is a process to do that, right? I mean, there's an annual meeting, there's an annual review, right?
KPMG is still our auditor. If they had a problem, if KPMG is still our auditor and all our major subsidiaries, obviously it's not a KPMG problem. It's not an audit problem. It's just their problem. If there was a problem, KPMG themselves would have, in India, not been in the main parent company, so they monitor the audit any case.
let me answer.
Think about the logic, right? If you cannot have one arm of a company staying on if they have a problem, it's very logical. I hope that it's clear. I don't know where the ambiguity is coming from.
Okay. No, thank you so much for this. I appreciate this.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keyur Pandya from ICICI Prudential Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity and thanks for the timely call. Appreciate that. Second on, so whatever the entities have been mentioned in the media, were they related parties, say, during that period, and if that is so, were they part of our books of accounts or annual report and shown as related party transactions? That is the question.
Yeah, sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay. So, what the article mentions is that they were related parties, the lessors. So, if whether that was the case or not, that is first. And second, if that was the case, were they part of our annual reports as... Hello?
So to answer to your first question is they were not a related party.
Okay. So then they are not required to be part of related party transaction disclosures in the annual reports.
That's right.
Okay. So just a clarification, does that mean that, as allegedly mentioned in the article, that it was either that lesser entities was owned by the employees or the promoters? Is that wrong, or technically they were not forming part of related parties despite the employees or the promoters owning them to some extent?
So they are not employees and they are not promoters. That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So none of the entities mentioned were wholly or partially owned by the employees or the promoters.
Yeah, they are not owned by employees nor by promoters. Yeah.
Even at that point in time, I mean.
At any point of time, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's more than clear. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you, Jay, for all the clarifications. That was very useful. I think this sort of a volatility also in the stock price could be because of, you say some alleged persons wants to play mischief. Is the company going to write to SEBI to investigate about yesterday and today's trade as to how many people would have been involved in the trading, etc.? And there could be some unscrupulous people who could have taken advantage of these situations. Is the company ready to write to SEBI and investigate the matter?
We are evaluating all options, and clearly that is one of the options that we are evaluating.
And Jiten, by this, we believe that there is a systematic. We've noticed for almost last 2 years that systematically bad news has been fakely propagated and exaggerated in a lot of times. And we've ignored it because we believe our business performance will speak for itself. But we are now taking little advice on how to deal with that. And I believe that if anybody is up to mischief, it should be brought to the notice of the regulator and all the other relevant authorities. Because Hardeep can explain about the offer to the newspaper guy also.
Yeah, and I must confirm to you that I personally spoke to this reporter, I think about a week ago, and I offered to him that in case he has any doubts, he is welcome, and I'm confirming that to you on this call, that I confirmed to him that if he has any doubts, he's welcome to visit the UPL office and our company, and he's also based in Bombay, I believe. I spoke to him and asked him where he's based. He said he's based in Bombay. I said, please visit the UPL office, and we will arrange for the company secretary to show you any and all documents that you may wish to see to satisfy yourself that we have followed complete and full process, including the report from the Sagar Associates, including our own internal audit report, and including all documents that you may feel are you required to see. We said to a specific offer made to the reporter. He did not, in fact, not only did I make it once, I repeated that. He did not avail the offer.
So, I would like to mention that all your shareholders are pretty tired of all these type of alleged attacks on the company. What is it that you all are doing on a very serious note to squash this for good? Because your company's performance is improving year after year, quarter after quarter. You are like a $5 billion company. You are the lowest PE multiple in the AgChem world, not only in India. Your stock is like a micro cap PE multiple because of these various attacks. I think the management should take this up very seriously, both with SEBI, other regulatory bodies, and address this legally and sue these persons who are putting up these allegations time and again. They are causing huge market cap loss and damage to shareholders.
I totally agree with you. We have remained focused on our business rather than...
Yeah, but this is a very big distraction in that focus, so it's hurting everybody.
We are considering taking very, very strong action, and you will hear more about that.
Sure. Thank you. All the best.
It may also be somewhat salutary for people who decide to take, to do stuff which is clearly with malified intent, or maybe somebody's shorting the market or something like that. God knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Alexandra from William Blair. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you very much for your call today. It is very useful that you're doing it on time so we can really understand what's going on. So my question is a bit basic here. You said that you have received the allegation in 2017. Is it exactly the same allegation, or does it just refer to the same transaction, but it's a new allegation that says different things, like new things about, maybe if you can clarify that. Because you mentioned that you have already investigated the issue. So is it exactly the same issue?
It is, yes. It's the same issue. Okay. It is the same, just worded differently.
No, in fact, the article refers to the 2016 letter. So that's why we feel it's malified, because everything was resolved, addressed, and answered. And again, in 2020, somebody brings it up. So it's.
Okay. Sorry for my bad word. Okay, so it refers to what it was already investigated in 2017.
That's right.
It's not. Okay. Clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Naveen Baid from Aditya Birla Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Jay, like you said, Mr. Mehta is neither a promoter nor an employee of the company, but he is there on board of 19 companies as per Minister of Corporate Affairs details, and one of them is UPL Investments. Can you confirm or deny?
I confirm that we know him, and he's a consultant with us. We knew his father also, so there is we know the person very well. Yeah.
And the address is also housed in the UPL office as per the MCA website.
Yeah, so he regularly visits UPL, and definitely yes.
Okay, but he's not a related party.
No,
absolutely not.
And the article also says, and there has been no denial from the management as such, that the property which was leased back to the UPL was at one point of time owned by you in your personal capacity. Is that correct or incorrect?
No,
at some point of time.
I tried to look at buying the property, but at that point of time I decided not to buy the property, and I continued to rent it. There was an option to buy, but we looked at and we didn't go ahead with the acquisition.
Okay.
I mean, my personal capacity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, we will take the last question from the line of S. Ramesh from Nirmal Bang. Please go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I think the explanations have been fairly helpful to put the controversy behind it. So, if I may ask, there in the latest related party transactions filed with the exchange, there's a mention about advances due from Sattva Global Environment of 105 crores and Albania Reality LLP for 34 crores. Can you just explain what is the consideration and when you will settle this outstanding?
Anand, you want to take?
Yeah, I think both are business-related transactions, and whatever the waste management they are doing, it is pertaining to those, and those will be settled against the invoicing of billing which happens. So it's a routine business transaction. Those will be settled as the invoicing happens through the year.
Okay. And second thing is on the business. We heard some positive comments on the seeds business from Advanta. So is there some color you can share in terms of the progress you are likely to make, say, in the next 3-4 years? Because if you see the global companies, seeds is a fairly material part of their portfolio and it's a higher margin business. So is there some incremental growth potential we can expect in the seed business under Advanta?
Advanta is doing well. I think our market share growth in markets which we are operating in is doing well. As I was saying, that iGrowth is an amazing technology platform where we have the first non-GM sorghum technology sorghum, and we see that that's going to transform the sorghum farming practices worldwide. We've launched that technology in Argentina. We are hoping to get approval in the US. We launched it in Australia. I believe there are other markets around the world where this technology will give us a huge market share growth in our sorghum business. Vegetable business is doing well in India. We've gained a lot. As I was saying that Advanta corn business is done very well in India. Even in Indonesia, we're doing very well. Generally speaking, the rice business is doing well. We've got approvals recently of a lot of our rice hybrids in West Africa, and we are launching them systematically in that region. The vegetable business, I may have mentioned again, is doing well, and we are on a very strong footing to continue to grow the business. Even our Central Asia, the sunflower business, our new launches are quite well accepted. So overall, Advanta is on a growth path, and they are quite bullish on the prospects in the near future.
Just to squeeze in one last thought. Now, is it possible to indicate some share of the seed business in your overall portfolio, say in 4 or 5 years' time?
No, the seed business is growing nicely. We've had a very good year so far. I'm not sure we gave the exact, but we have at least 30-40% growth in EBITDA this year in the seed business as a standalone. Even our Australian wheat business, the wheat year is a bumper year. Prices of wheat are strong, so that is going to do very well. That data will come in, but that's a royalty-based business. Will come in quite soon, but I still think February. No, I think it's looking good. We can expect double-digit, 20-30% growth in Advanta business in the prospects going in the next 3 years. Everything is firing off at the right time. Agriculture is agriculture, and things can get change quickly in terms of weather-related issues. But in general, we are quite bullish on the prospects. Just to give you an idea, I expect at least a 30 to 40% growth in our corn business in India this year. So I think things are good. Advanta is still small relative to UPL. We are less than 10% of UPL. So on a standalone business, it would be the biggest seed company in India, but as part of the overall UPL, it looks small. But standalone, by far, Advanta would have been the biggest seed company in India.
Thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. We take one more question from the line of Amit Ganatra from HDFC Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. One is that, there was a press release, I think on 1st December, where you had disclosed about early, repayment of debt. So can you, share some more details in terms of what this press release relates to, and is it part of the overall, plan to reduce debt by some, I think, $500 million in the second half, or now maybe the debt reduction can be higher? So that was the first question, and then I'll ask my second question.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the answer to that. So, we have a bond which is outstanding and which matures in October 21, And we have, as per the bond offer letter, we can buy back the bonds through what is called as a make-whole offer. And we are buying back the bonds. The outstanding bonds are 418 million. So we have fixed a date of 28th December, 28, and we'll be buying back the bonds as of that date. So that is that was referring to the announcement which we made on 1st December, which is regarding the buyback of these bonds. So this is going to be the gross debt reduction, which we will do. And I think in the next quarter is the quarter when we have substantial cash inflows. And therefore, you will see that there will be a net debt reduction, which will happen. Typically, we have anywhere between, I'll just quote the last year's numbers. Last year, we had about close to $800 million of cash and bank balance collected during the Q4. And this year, we're considering about 7 to 8% growth in revenues. We should have slightly higher than that. So that's the collection which happens in Q4 due to the seasonality of our business. And therefore, you will see a net debt reduction further happening in Q4.
Okay. My second question is more on the, the group structure as well as, the related party transactions as well. I mean, internally, is there a thought process that, or is there a possibility that, we can simplify the overall corporate structure for UPL, or this is the cost of, this is just the cost of being a multinational kind of a business? I mean, just is there any thought process around that can we improve the overall, or can we simplify the corporate structure as well as, do away with any kind of related party transactions completely, or can we eliminate that as far as UPL is concerned?
No, I mean, let me share with you, there's an absolutely conscious effort to reduce the number of subsidiaries. In fact, prior to the acquisition of Arista, if you look back on our, P&L, because related party transactions need to be disclosed, you will see that our subsidiaries were about 5 years back, they were above 100. We have brought them down to 84. Now, when we brought in Arista, as you know, were 3 companies within Arista. That was Arista Life Science, we had Agri-Power business, and the third one was Chemtura Assets. All these 3 companies had different structures. So when we acquired Arista, which included the other 2 companies also, we got with that almost 160 subsidiaries. Now, clearly we are working towards restructuring this and reducing the number of subsidiaries. And that is work in progress, but it takes time because there are tax implications, there are financing implications and other implications. So that's work in progress. But I must also quickly add here that under, as per SEBI guidelines or as per the accounting standards, even any sale made to the subsidiary is the sale done to related party transaction. So, and the way our structures are, we have manufacturing in one subsidiary and sales happen in different countries in different subsidiaries. So I don't see those getting eliminated, but certainly you will see a reduction in the number of subsidiaries as we move forward.
Okay. No, that's helpful. That's very fair. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anand Vora from UPL for closing comments.
Sure. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us on this call. If you have any further questions, we'll be happy to. Please do not hesitate to write to either Radhika Arora or myself, and we'll be happy to answer. Thank you once again for joining us. Thanks, Jia, for hosting this call, Vishalbhai and Devanbhai, and thanks, Jai, and thanks, Hardeep, for joining us on this call and giving clarification as an independent director as well as audit committee chairperson. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,